Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode. I hope you're all having a great day. Today, we have just one race coming your way, and that is the Cup Series at Atlanta Motor Speedway here. Fresh off of a top 10 performance at Richmond Raceway for us, which was a very nice change of scene for us now, as we had finally a good race overall. Top 10 in the first two stages, as well as finishing inside the top 10, setting up for hopefully a good race here today at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And we're going to jump right into things, into qualifying here at Atlanta with the NZXT colors back on the car for us here today. The goal in qualifying was to hit a 29.470. Wasn't quite sure if we were going to be able to pull that off. It's full throttle around the whole track here at Atlanta, no matter at what point of the run it is now. So we came through, though, to finish our qualifying lap with a 29.817 and actually qualify all the way down in P25 for the Folds of Honor Quick Trip 500 here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. So definitely some work to do, to say the least, here now as you see the rest of the qualifying order on your screen. Bubba Wallace just rounding out the top 30. Chase Elliott, our teammate, in P24, and then up towards the top 10 there. You got Kyle Larson in P14. William Byron rounds out that top 10, and then in the top 5 we got Logano, but Denny Hamlin and Chase Briscoe will be on the front row here as Hamlin starts on pole for his final race at Atlanta Motor Speedway here in his final season. Alright, boys, we finally had a really good race overall. The whole day at Richmond just went good for us, so I'm sure we can translate that over into Atlanta today. So we haven't had the mile-and-a-half speed that we wanted, but last week, was a really, really good sign of things to come. So let's go get a good one. There you hear myself on the radio as we get ready to go green now. As you see, no one's sent to the back, no one failing inspection, no one's trying to cheat and get caught, at least here from NASCAR, as we're getting ready to take the green flag. So Anthony Alfredo looks a little bit slow in that 21 Wood Brothers Ford Mustang now in that Dude Wipes paint scheme here. As we get ready to go green on the inside line, we might be starting down in P25, but we're still just behind our team at Avelia and right behind Harrison Burton now, one of our biggest rivals in terms of competition, as the green flag is out and the Folds of Honor Quick Trip 500 gets underway here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Now, as you might notice a bit of a quality change, I'm hoping for the better. I actually recorded this episode here with Streamlabs, and I'm hoping that translates pretty well over to the video quality now, as it seemed better overall for recording as we go down this back straightaway towards turn 3. Getting aggressive right off the bat, making it 3 wide up the inside of the McLaren now as Harrison Burton falls in line behind myself, but you're already seeing a lot of 3x3 here on this opening start. And you look in your top left of the screen, 25 laps in stage 1, a very lengthy first stage here at Atlanta, which means that no matter what, we will have to make a pit stop, be under caution or under green flag conditions here as Denny Hamlin leads the opening lap. As I actually get into the back of the 29 of Cole Custer there for a brief moment. He kind of slides around there on the exit of the corner. I try to go to the inside. Unfortunately, the run kind of stalls out there as we go down the back into turn 3, so we have to settle in here for P20 for the time being now as we come through turn 3. But look at Denny Hamlin all the way out front, pulling away from second place now, as I'm going to go through the middle here between the 7 of Ryan Blaney and the 29 of Cole Custer, our teammate of Kyle Larson. 3 wide in the middle between Haley Deegan and Justin Haley here, so definitely not working for myself now as Harrison Burton gets up my inside now, so it's 3x3 for a couple rows here as we get right to the back of Larson. Give him a shove now as I'm trying to get myself forwards as well, but now unfortunately getting stuck behind Cole Custer, who gets taken 3 wide, but I had an opportunity to get down in front of Daniel Hemrick there in the 12 car as we went down into turn 3, and now we try to work our way back forwards now to the inside of Harrison Burton. We're going to be 3 wide once again, this time with Burton and our teammate of Kyle Larson now as we came through down the back straightaway on lap 4. 3 wide again with Justin Haley and Haley Deegan now as we went into turn 3 up the inside of Kyle Busch as well. So we're all of a sudden, after a few laps, making up a bunch of ground here as we came through. Now looking up the inside of the 47 of Ross Chastain. Zane Smith holding on to that 10th spot. William Byron on the far outside, 3 wide once again here as we go down into turns 1. Byron making that outside work really well actually here as I go 3 wide again, and now we get clear of Zane Smith as well. We would get to just a bit ahead of William Byron, and we would eventually clear him. But now on lap 5, coming to 6 out of turns 4, Kyle Busch, he had a really good run to my inside here and took advantage of it as we went down into turns 1. He ends up passing myself here, so we fall down to 10th. Now it's actually up ahead. There was some smoke coming from one of those cars there, and the caution would end up coming out, bringing now a DNF to that car. I can't actually tell who that is from here, but I can confirm whoever it is DNF'd from this race here now, as we will get a good idea of who that was. It was actually Christopher Bell. It was the number 20 car for Joe Gibbs Racing here, as we would now be ready to go back green from P10. So currently holding on to that last stage point paying position here as the green flag once again is back out, and we are now underway, but still a long ways to go here in stage one. 17 laps remaining. That's usually about the normal length of a mile and a half first stage or so. So definitely a long ways to go. Got to stay patient now, but clearly we have some top 10 speed, which is nice to have here as we exit turn two. We're going to get aggressive, make it 3 wide there with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. as well as William Byron in that 88 car here as we go down into turn 3. Chase Briscoe running up inside the top 10. He's had a rough start to this season now. Ever since his crash last season that put him out for a few races due to an injury from Texas Motor Speedway, he really hasn't been able to do a whole lot. He's actually been winless since that crash, and he started the season last season with a win very early on, I believe, at Auto Club Speedway, so that would be his last win so far here as we now pass him and move up into P9 as we try to put the pressure to the back of William Byron there in that 88 car here. As we're going to look up the inside, down the back straightaway, a big run on that Liberty University Camaro for Earnhardt Johnson Racing. So sure enough, up into 8th place we go as Hamlin once again pulls away from 2nd place, who is currently now actually Sam Mayer in P2, but then he would lose 2nd place to Christian Eckes in the Red Bull car. Kyle Busch would pass him for 3rd place, and now I'm continuing to work myself forwards now as we're right behind Brad Keselowski in that 41 car for Stuart Haas Racing. He just picked up his first win for SHR last time out at Richmond Raceway, and he's backing that up with a top 5 run here so far today as we would get clear of Joey Logano as well, very close to making contact with him, and up to 6th place we would go. Keselowski and myself both run down the Trackhouse driver of Sam Mayer, and we both pass him. So now we're all of a sudden approaching the final 10 laps of the stage. We find ourselves in the top 5, putting pressure on Brad Keselowski for 4th there as I actually get loose there through the tri-oval. That was a bit of an awkward moment, but now out of turns 2 on lap 16 up the inside of the 41 of Brad Keselowski, and sure enough we're going to move up into the 4th position. But actually my spotter TJ Majors was just calling out on the radio that some drivers were pitting, and sure enough Kyle Busch, he comes into the pit lane out of turns 4. I was actually, instead of playing the strategy of pitting early, I stayed out to the point I cycled out to the lead. So now on lap 18 out of turns 4, both myself and the 41 of Brad Keselowski come into the pit lane. I just barely got the car slowed down in time here as it was 4 tires, 2 cans of fuel, 15.3 second pit stop here as we would get back underway. So we came through out of the pit lane, and I realized that somehow we beat Kyle Busch out of the pit lane as well as Denny Hamlin and everyone in front of us. So we were about to cycle out to the lead, and sure enough that's what happened. We cycled out to P1 with a few laps to go in stage 1. Hamlin up to 2nd, and he was running me down very quick now. It was almost 3 seconds to Kyle Busch earlier when we first came out. Well, now Hamlin's less than a second behind myself there, bringing Kyle Busch along with him now as we came through, approaching the final lap in stage 1, continuing to lead the way there as here we are leading some laps for the first time this season legitimately now as the Red Bull of Christian Eckes would move up into 2nd place, and just leading these few laps here in stage 1 are actually, this is going to be the most laps we've led all season combined compared to what we have in the first 9, 10, 11 races or so here as we go down into turn 3 for the final time. Hamlin looks up the inside of Eckes, not quite enough right there, and sure enough out of turns 4 we're going to hold off all those 3 Toyota cars, and we are going to come through to win the first stage we've won all season long, the first time we've even had speed to be up here, and finally we pick up a playoff point. Let's go, boys. I don't know how we pulled that off. A great pit stop, great call there. I am very surprised with that. They were running us down quick, so I know we don't have first place speed, but if we can do something like that in stage 3, we might have a chance to win this race. So good stuff all around. There you hear it on the radio. We finally had something. We won stage 1, 10 points, gonna only help us in the point standings, and then a playoff point, which we have been not able to come by at all this season so far now. Unfortunately, you see some of our Hendrick Motorsports teammates also struggling still. Hopefully they can pick it up now. Stage 1 position P1 and first Gary Owen. Nice to finally see that again, as it's been a while since we've won a stage. Do we have the speed to win this race? Well, hard to tell. We saw those cars run us down like Eckes, Hamlin, and Kyle Busch. So now as we get ready to go back green for stage 2, which is now underway, it is time to get amped here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. where in the world did Daniel Suarez in the Going Racing Chevrolet Camaro in the 77 car come from? Here is our driver for our own Going Racing team, Daniel Suarez, in that yellow heart car, coming through to now take the lead from Denny Hamlin in the opening laps of Stage 2. Did not see this coming at all now, as he drove right on by myself, and now, sure enough, Daniel Suarez to the lead, and for the first time in Going Racing history in the Cup Series in our first season, Daniel Suarez comes through to get our very first laps led. I was so happy to see this, but unfortunately, I was actually starting to struggle here now. As Kyle Busch, he ran me down, he passed me. Ryan Preece ran myself down as well out of turns 2. He is going to get passed as well. Now as we have the McLaren of Eric Jones to my inside as well. So all of a sudden, we're dropping down the order a little bit as Daniel Suarez tries to hold off Denny Hamlin in that 11 car. Daniel Suarez has won in the career mode once before when he was back with the 99 team at Trackhouse Racing, but that was now multiple seasons ago now, as we came through getting passed as well by Brad Keselowski. So now I'm trying to get myself back down towards that bottom line because I feel like we got a better car than P8, but it just kind of out of nowhere the car just started falling off there. So I was definitely thinking about potential adjustments later in this race once we complete Stage 2 now, as we fight back to that outside of the 41 of Keselowski. But all around a good fight going on with these guys. There was a lot of cars in here behind us. I saw my teammate of Alex Bowman coming up into the mix as well here as we come through out of turns 4. We've seen this Hendrick Alliance cars all of a sudden be pretty competitive this season. William Byron won recently, and now of course Daniel Suarez in my car leading the way. And as you guys know, Going Racing, I mean, and has an alliance with Hendrick Motorsports to get better equipment for that team. And Daniel continued to lead the way, but we got to the inside and we're starting to work our way back forwards. We passed Ryan Preece. We got to the inside again of Brad Keselowski into turns 3, and now we're going to pass him as well. So back into the top 5, validating the true speed here in Atlanta Motor Speedway that we have in this 24 NZXT Camaro today for Hendrick Motorsports. Now, as actually we have crashed out of turns 4. Tyler Reddick goes spinning in the outside wall. Not really anyone going to get into him, thankfully. Now, as Timmy Hill does clip him a little bit right there, but the caution comes out for the first time here in Stage 2, forcing everybody into the pit lane. We will take 2 cans of fuel, 4 fresh tires, very straightforward calling game. 2 positions moving into the inside on row number 2 in P3. Daniel Suarez, Denny Hamlin on that front row as the green flag is back out. Eric Jones on my outside here joining us on the second row, and behind us on row number 3 you got Kyle Busch as well as Eric Almirola there side by side here as we're going to get to the back of Suarez. Of course, I'm going to just push my driver out in front, so we give Suarez a nice push, but unfortunately when I did that it actually destroys the momentum on my car. So out of turns 2, Denny Hamlin just blows the doors off, and so does the 0-2 of Eric Jones as we go down into turn 3. So it shouldn't have done that in the long run now, as Eric Almirola as well, he's going to fight to my outside as we exit turns 4, and even he is going to actually get past us in that Smithfield 43 Camaro. Now, as Eric Almirola definitely been showing a little bit more speed with that Richard Petty Motorsports team over probably the last half the season, going back in a little bit later into the last season when he picked up his win actually at Martinsville Speedway over us in that 43 car, as we would also get cleared by Kyle Busch, drop down to P6, but we would continue working forwards now into P6, but to the inside of Eric Jones as we come through out of turn 2. Now, as actually we get out of turn 2, we just completely dump Eric Jones and turn him head onto the inside wall. The caution comes out. That was 100% my fault. Just clear misjudgment from myself, similar to when Kyle Busch dumped Chase Elliott at Darlington Raceway last year. Please apologize to Eric. That was so bad on my part. I just straight up misjudged. I'm so sorry. There you hear it. I mean, I just made a huge misjudgment. I just pushed up. I was trying to get close to him, but then I got into him. You saw me and heard me get out of the throttle, but unfortunately, even as I was still pulling the car to the left, we had Eric turn too much on an angle, and no matter what I did at that point, he was going head on into that inside wall. So he has a lot of damage, but he does still remain in this race, but I don't know if he's quite going to have the speed that he just had before that incident. We saw him with some top 5 speed, just like our 24 car here, as we go down into turns 1, but I felt really bad about that. It was just a stupid mistake right there, and I don't make those too often. We've made a couple uncharacteristic mistakes so far this season. Now, as we go 3 wide down the back straightaway, trying to get back up to second place with Eric Almirola, Denny Hamlin. Now, as we go into turns 3, Suarez, though, continuing to lead the way, showing that there's some serious pace in that Yellow Heart 77 car here today. Now, as Kyle Busch looks to my outside, I've seen some questions. What is Yellow Heart? So, a part of the storyline with Going Racing allowing me to stay see with Hendrick Motorsports was that we had the main kind of owner of the team, and that was the Chainsmokers. They're the majority owner, and the Yellowheart is actually an NFT company that the Chainsmokers are a big investment in. So I just kind of felt like a part of the storyline that kind of made sense to put one of their kind of brands on the car now as it came through onto lap 20 of 23. Now falling a little bit behind Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, and Suarez out of turns 2. Cole Custer looks to my inside, and then Eric Almirola attacks on that as you see myself side draft at 29 as I go down into turns 3, and unfortunately I couldn't get the car down in time to cover that 43 of Eric Almirola. Now we get taken 3 wide by the Red Bull of Christian Eckes and the 12 of Daniel Hemrick there for Penske Racing, so 3 wide in the middle with 3 laps to go in this second stage now as Suarez continues to pull away from the front 2 drivers now as I'm just hanging on for dear life, sliding up into the 12 as we exit the corner, but definitely need a bit of an adjustment on this car. But honestly, if you just get trapped on the top, that's the big issue, because you see once I got back down to the bottom, I take Eckes and Hemrick 3 wide no problem, and we're going to drive by both of them. So now back up into P6, approaching the final lap here in stage 2, and look at the gap Daniel Suarez has to both Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin now as we came through onto the final lap of stage 2 into turns 1 and 2, still side by side with Daniel Hemrick as we come through out of the corner now as he's going to have the momentum as we go down this back straightaway for the final time now as Suarez leads the way into 3 and 4, looking to get going Racing's first ever stage win, coming off of getting our first lap sled here today. And sure enough, Suarez wins stage 2, we won stage 1, and we're going to come through to cross the line, barely getting beat by the 12 of Hemrick, who really fought strong there on the outside. So we have to settle for P7 and 4 points, but once again, just like Richmond, we actually go back-to-back races here, getting stage points in both stage 1 and 2. I decided though to put up the grill tape to 40%, and then I was thinking about putting the wedge down just a little bit, but I ended up deciding to keep it the same, but I actually put up the right rear tire pressure to 50.0 now as we're going to get ready to go green for the start of this third and final stage. And what so far, other than that mistake taking out Eric Jones, it has been a very, very good showing for us here today with Hendrick Motorsports as we get ready to restart in P6. Overtaking the 12 of Daniel Hemrick there, that puts us on the outside alongside Cole Custer there in that 29 car as the green flag is back out. The third and final stage here at Atlanta Motor Speedway is underway. Daniel Suarez, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Eric Almirola, and Cole Custer, your top 5. Hendrick Motorsports looking a tiny bit speedier. Maybe today we got Bowman up here in the mix a little bit behind us, but now we make it 3 wide with Hamlin, one of the dominant cars of the day. Drops all the way down to 8th place there on the restart as he got hung 3 wide in the middle. Not what he was looking for at all here in his final trip to Atlanta and with that FedEx Toyota Camry now as you see Cole Custer up the inside of Suarez. Custer still looking for that first career win. He's had opportunities in the 41 car. He had an opportunity earlier this season, I believe it was at Kansas Speedway with the 29 team, still came up just short. Noah Gragson, who's just in front of myself, another driver, still looking for that first career win with Chip Ganassi Racing, and another driver as well that's been very close to getting that first career win multiple times and is now, 3-season career in the Cup Series, and unfortunately for him, he's come up short every time now. Suarez, though, he would defend the 29 of Custer, who would now actually drop down to 4th place. Now Daniel Hemrick, another driver up here who's looking for their first career win, trying to look to the inside of Kyle Busch. Now as Hamlin had already run myself back down, only 25 laps remain in this race, so not a whole lot of time, but now you see there on the bottom of the screen, the temperatures are actually going up. We are overheating the engine, so clearly the grill tape situation there, the grill tape that I added on the pit stop was the wrong way to go, because the overheating issue is going to eventually slow down our car, so we're not going to gain any speed whatsoever. I think I've done this before at Atlanta, but I didn't even think about it before I made that adjustment because we only went up by 1 click, so I didn't feel like that was going to overheat us whatsoever. But now that's a big issue right there, as we got to get that fixed as soon as we can now as it came through out of turn 2. Hamlin to my inside as we go down at the back straightaway. He is going to be able to get by us, and the longer we overheat this engine, the slower we're going to get compared to these guys, specifically down the straightaways, and it would start to come into effect. Now on lap 59, Gregson just blows right on by down the straightaway, and the cars behind, they were running us down. The oil temperature up to 263 degrees at this point. Bowman runs me down, blows right on by me as well, so all of a sudden, this good race we've been having, all of a sudden the top 10 is in jeopardy now as we were on lap 61. Down to P9, a bit of a mistake for myself out of turns where you just saw me kind of make a little bit of a slip slip up, and then right into the wall we went. We lose a spot to Christian Eckes, and now the 19 of Harrison Burton to my inside, and everything all of a sudden starts falling apart here for us in Atlanta Motor Speedway. But when I'm staying out of the draft of these guys, the engine is actually cooling down a little bit, so I caught on to that a little bit, and I was like, you know what, if I can stay out of the draft, we can probably keep that engine cool enough to where the speed, we'll still be able to optimize that now and get as much out of this engine as possible. But that's really the only thing we can do. So now as we came through on lap 63, unfortunately when we're running this inside line a lot and whatnot behind these other guys, we're still in that draft overheating the engine, and as soon as it hits about 260 degrees is when you overheat. So I was thinking, you know what, we might have to actually pit early now. As I'm in front of Sam Mayer, we make a pass right there, but I decide on lap 63, we got to come in early. We can't continue running like this with this overheating issue. We're not getting anywhere, so we're banking on it staying green to the end here. So we came into the pit lane for 7.9 seconds. Simple 2-tire pit stop there on the right sides now, and just a splash of fuel. And we are actually pretty close on fuel to get to the end, but I basically decided as soon as I was comfortable with coming in to make sure we could just barely get to the finish, I was going to come into the pit lane now. So that was the goal there with that. So we came through out of turns 4 on lap 66, and we were going to have to run a few more laps, but surprisingly, the AI drivers came in actually a lot sooner than I anticipated, which is a good thing for us, because if a caution comes out, we're in big trouble if these guys are still out on track. But look, there comes Kyle Busch out of the pit lane on lap 68. We get by him, so all of a sudden I'm realizing this is the exact same situation as stage 1, because now we pass Daniel Suarez, who is running away with the lead and the victory now. As you see me hit that apron there on lap 69, nice by the way. But now on lap 71, I'm realizing we're going to cycle out to the lead now. As you see me clipping that apron again, another mistake there as we slip and slide, but out of turns 4. Cole Custer just coming out of the pit lane. Kyle Busch running me down very quick though as we go down towards turns 1. I had nothing for him. He blows the doors right off my car. I had absolutely nothing for that 18 car, but running second place, all of a sudden we have a good chance here to still get a good finish. Obviously not going to be a win, because you can see Kyle Busch driving away, and Daniel Suarez, he was actually now starting to run myself down as well here within the final 10 laps of this race. 8 laps to fill and about 8 laps to go, coming to 7 laps to go. So we were close, but we were just barely going to make it. So now as we came through a little bit later on lap 75, the tire icon had now come on and Daniel Suarez was here. So now I'm in a whole different situation. I'm realizing we got to save the tires all of a sudden. So I decided to just let Daniel go. He is unfortunately almost 3 seconds behind Kyle, but so no chance he's going to run down Kyle. But I'm realizing 25% on the right rear, and we still have quite a ways to go. So I was definitely concerned. I let Alex Bowman go, who's rallied his way up to P3, and now I'm backing the pace way down. At this point, I'm just saying, please get a top 10. That's all we're hoping for at this point. Eric Almirola to my inside now as I continue to drop the pace and run towards the wall, because now I'm doing everything I can to save the tire. So pitting early for the grill tape issue ends up costing us even more, putting us in this situation where we have to get way off the pace and save the tires. Now on lap 78, there goes Hemrick, and there goes Cole Custer as well. On the inside, Christian Eckes dropping us down to P9, but we actually had about 3 seconds to 10th place, so I was confident I could hold about a 3-second gap to Sam Mayer here in the final few laps if we can get this tire to the end. I was continuing to back the pace down, run this outside here, and if I continue doing this, I think we were going to be okay now, as we're not using that tire as much here, running up top 9% on the right rear at this point with only 3 laps to go. Now as we came through out of turns 2, and then the caution actually comes out within the final 3 laps. The left rear though was the main issue. It's actually down to 2% on the left rear, so I decided to go sending it here. This is full send mode. I said, you know what, Kyle Busch, by the way, coming into the pit lane from the lead, but if it stays green and we get to the final lap and blow a tire and bring out a caution, we could still finish in the top 10, because that caution ends the race. If we pit now, we throw the race completely away, we'll probably finish 20th at best. So I decided, you know what, we're going to try and make it to the final lap with 2% on that tire, stay in the top 10, and if that tire blows out and we get a caution, we'll finish in the top 10 depending when that caution comes out. So I decided to take the risk. We're just trying to get the top 10 at this point, a very, very big risk. Basically, I'm not trying to make it to the finish of this race. I'm trying to make it to the final lap. Really just trying to take advantage of one of the in-game systems when that caution comes out. Once you hit that final lap, the race is over. So 2% on the left rear. We just got to make it around 1 lap. I looked at it here, and as we went down into turns, when it really hit me, I was like, there is no way we're making it around to the finish. And I know if I want any chance, I'm going to have to run that top and off the pace, but the left rear already down to 1%, so we have to get around half a lap with 1% on the left rear. It's going to be very, very close here as we go down towards turn 3. Suarez leading the way into the corner. I go way up high trying to save that tire now, but as we come through the center of the corner, there goes the left rear tire, and unfortunately we go crashing into the outside while the gamble does not pay off. Everybody piling in. Bubba Wallace, Tyler Reddick, the 17, the 1 of Noah Gragson, and now we blow both of the rear tires out, and we're going to go into double overtime, and we were literally a quarter of the way away from getting to the final lap, and this risky call paying off. But now, of course, we have to come in and put fuel, or not fuel on the car, but 4 tires on the car. Actually, we do need fuel. We only have 1 lap of fuel. So we come in, and now we're down to P34, right where we were going to be pretty much for the 2-lap dash in the first place. And like I said, the situation was down to, if we make it to the final lap and I blow a tire, bring out a caution, we'll probably still finish in the top 10 because they bring out the caution right away. If we pit, we're in the situation we are right now, 2 laps earlier, and it would still have been 2 laps to go because it was overtime and we'll finish 20th at best. So I took the gamble trying to get the top 10 because we won stage 1. We had a great race overall. Everything went wrong here in stage 3, and now here we are in P34 with 2 laps to go. But the bright side is we picked up a lot of stage points today, so even if we finish 33rd right here, we're actually still going to be pretty good in terms of points. Now Suarez leads the way through 3 and 4. Daniel Suarez for Going Racing in position to win for the first time with this team as we exit turns 4, going 3 wide down the front straightaways. We come through to start this final lap now to the outside of the 42 of Reddick has actually clipped the outside wall as we go down into turns 1. Suarez all the way on the top. Alex Bowman briefly into second place on the inside now as I am hauling the mail past these guys here on the outside to the outside now of the 23 of Bubba Wallace in that DoorDash Toyota Camry for 2311 Racing. His teammate of Kraus just ahead, but Daniel Suarez in the Going Racing Camaro leads the way out of turns 4, and he is going to come through to win our first ever race in this team's first season as we come through to cross the line and at least rebound to P23. So obviously we just made the wrong call there on the last pit stop. We should have pitted, but we took that risk, and if we would have made it probably 10 more seconds, not even, we would have gotten the caution when that tire went out, and we probably would have gotten a top 10. So very frustrating there. I tried to take advantage of the game, and well, the game took advantage of me instead. So P23 is where we finished. There's Lewis Hamilton down there in the 30s. Chase Elliott all the way down in 32nd place. Another horrendous day for our Hendrick Motorsports teammate there in that Napa Chevrolet Camaro. But Daniel Suarez with the victory for Going Racing. Very happy to see that at least. But now that's going to actually create an even more spicier playoff grid. But look at us. 5th in the standings now. We're actually past the number 20 of Christopher Bell. So moving our way forwards, but here you are going to see the playoff grid. So Suarez in that Going Racing car, another driver that really shouldn't be in on points in terms of the playoffs. And we've had a couple of those happen now this season. So you're going to see the effect that it has. We're only going to have about 5 drivers or so in on points in the playoffs right now. And that is with about only half of the regular season complete so far now, as I'm going to show the Cup Series playoff grid here on the screen. There you see it. So we are down in 12th in the playoff grid because of all these different winners. So, I mean, Brandon Jones is the only multi-time winner, and we are officially coming up on the halfway point of the regular season in the next episode at Talladega Super Speedway, where we could very easily see another first-time winner this season now, as there you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drivers in on points. Eric Jones holding onto that final spot. Elliott now on the outside looking in by 7 points. Gregson out by 5. As always, if you guys enjoyed this episode, you know what to do. I would like to thank you all for taking the time out of your day to watch this one and other ones on the channel. Let me know what you thought about the gamble I made there. I thought it was worth it. In the end, obviously, it wasn't. But as well, I would like to say thank you to the Going Racing members of MJ, Joseph 9001, Timothy Arline, Bubba Jr., Brett Durward, Dark Gengar Gaming, AJ Vasseur, Russell Dixon, as well as Kenneth Barnett. You guys help me out so much, and I really do appreciate the support. And once again, thank you so much. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day, everybody.